Shalom Nir.
Shalom Ronny, welcome back to Israel.
Thank you. We need to explain that we were off the air for the last few weeks because each one of us traveled, able to share Israel with friends of Israel, usually in the United States of America. Always encouraging to see the level of support that we have. Yes, it was preaching to the choir, but when hundreds of people come to hear and show support, we really appreciate that, and that was a good tour, a good travel.
It's much more than just preaching to the choir because we're giving our friends abroad the right tools to fight the unbelievable PR war made against Israel. It's a PR war that is filled with lies more than anything else. Almost nothing is true in all this huge PR war, and therefore our preaching to the choir is actually giving our friends the tools to fight back this wave of anti-Semitism, anti-Israel that is raging around the world due to the last war going on.
Well, let's have a short update and inform our viewers in the Israeli perspective. And I think that we should focus on the two main events of the last 24 hours, and that's the target killing. One we took responsibility for is Israel, the one in Beirut. And the other one, I think that you don't have to be that bright to understand who may be behind the operation, and that's taking out the leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, in Tehran. Two major events that maybe are going to change the course of the conflict. It's really hard to tell, but we are commemorating 300 days since the thing started. What a situation to be in, huh?
It's unbelievable situation that a country like Israel has 150,000 refugees up in the Galilee who has to evacuate their homes because everything close to the border is a target these days, and Israel already lost almost 50 civilians right on the border with Lebanon, people who were not evacuated, and a big part of our people that were evacuated from the south, and still we have 115 hostages held in Gaza, only a few miles away from our troops right now, but almost impossible to reach out to. And it looks like the rescue of those hostages will have to go through some agreement that will have to be supported by other nations, not just by Israel. The two events you were talking about, of the killing of the leader of Hamas in Tehran and one of the leaders of Hezbollah in Beirut, are a follow-up to the killing of, or the attempt killing that was just confirmed as a kill of the chief of staff of Hamas a couple of weeks ago in Gaza. Altogether, I'm assuming that the taking out of these three bad people from the equation will help out the negotiation to end this war.
Yeah, well, right now the MO of the Israeli army is, after Gaza is basically conquered, is to try to get the right amount of intel and to be very targeted in how to go into selected locations. If you have enough information about Hamas trying to regather its forces, to try to remanufacture all kinds of rockets and weapons, then we are simply organizing an operation, and Israel is expert by now to do that, and try to pinpoint a certain location. And it looks like this is going to take a while to try to get to every single terrorist. Most of them hiding on the ground. Won't be easy. We understand it's going to take a long time, but we are determined. And therefore, right now, there is no full-scale war going on. The attention goes more to Lebanon. This is going to be the next front line, and this is a different story than Gaza. Gaza is no longer a real threat for Israel, but still, once we started that, we want to make sure that the job is done, and the job will be done, as we're going to go in and out at will to make sure that Hamas will not get any kind of power when it comes to military in the Gaza area ever again. So there's no such a feeling in the country that really we are under a war, but here we are, seated in a house in the middle of Israel, waiting for the retaliation of Iran or Hamas or somebody else or Hezbollah. It's absolutely crazy to live under such conditions, but it's becoming normal, unfortunately.
It's totally unbelievable that the reality and normal is what will appear in every normal eye as totally abnormal. So we hope that our government will be able to make the changes and to adjust or to be replaced in order to make sure that this will happen. But this will be happening somehow in the next few weeks, months, whatever. This will change and some resolution will come out to it. It has to be clear to all of our friends around the world, this is not a single incident between Israel and the Palestinians in Gaza. This is a cultural, religious war that's going on around the world between fundamental and extreme Islam and the rest of the world. It's led by Iran, and the people who are following are different terrorist organizations. It has to be clear that the people who were killed in the last few days, these are people that the civilized world, led by the US, had serious numbers of reward for killing them or taking them out. So we're dealing with the worst possible terrorists of the world that we're dealing with, and they are encouraged by Iran into a cultural religious war.
It's amazing that we did a favor also to Egypt and to Jordan that consider Hamas to be a main reason for destabilizing their own regimes. They will not say it loud and clear, but this will be, I would say, a blessing to other countries in the areas where. And also it's important to note near the 300 days into this, and the spirit is still high, and the motivation is still high. Reservists are doing hundreds of days in serving the country, and you do not hear anybody asking questions or have reservations. Your country needs you, and this is a new challenge for all of us. And we have to say that so far, the Israeli society shows not just resilience, but the amazing wave of volunteering and the amazing wave of supporting each other, something that the government doesn't do well enough. The civilians stepped in to make sure that we are together with all the arguments, and we have them all the time, but the nation under attack responds in a way that I would expect it to respond. And this is a good criteria. It's a good criteria to understand how the Israeli people, what we are made of, and how long we can hold on, well, as long as it takes,
Absolutely.
until our enemies are dead. And that has to be the target of this country. And I think that I'm speaking on behalf of the whole nation, saying that we will not spare any efforts. Israel has the right to live in peace. Israelis have the right to live quiet in their homes without being threatened from a few yards away from crossing the border. This is not normal. No country is willing to live like that, especially a country strong enough to take care about its enemies, and still hesitates because of friends and the UN and what will be the world's response. This should not be a key motivation, a key consideration
Absolutely.
when a nation is fighting for its survival.
Even an old man like myself has been able to, after a long series of medical exams, to go back into service and do some support to the military, which is kind of a farce, but it is what it
That
is.
shows our condition.
Absolutely, absolutely. We do have to acknowledge the new book that Ronny just published recently, and we would like you all to be aware of this book. So Ronny, say a few words about your new jewel.
Yeah, well, it's an attempt to describe the history of the Jewish people and Judaism without speaking about the Jewish religion. It's almost like writing church history without touching on the principles of the Christian world of Christianity. And I hope I was able, in a good research, and that's how I kept my sanity during COVID, and you helped me with that, is to be able to write a study that people will find interesting. We speak about the days of Jesus, after all, speaking about the day of the Second Temple. We speak about the key events in the Jewish way of life as a nation and as individuals. And I hope that if you're interested, you'll find it as a good source. Just log on to www.thegalileeacademy.com and you'll find all the information there.
And we are continuing with the good work of the Galilee Academy throughout the U.S. We're still marketing the virtual tour that goes well and well. And we are in the process of adding subtitles to the virtual tour. So those of you who buy it online will get the new version ASAP as soon as it's ready. And we're continuing with a series of lectures and seminars throughout the U.S. For whoever has the desire to get closer by knowing more.
And we'll go back to maybe not the weekly update, but we do it more often than we did over the last few months. And until next time.
May the God of Israel richly bless you all.
Amen.